All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today is May 29, 2026. And man, we are looking at an incredibly dynamic news cycle. We're going to unpack this by starting really wide, looking at high-stakes global diplomacy and national security. And then we're going to drill all the way down to the immediate, visceral environmental realities facing the Eagle Valley right now. It's a real journey from the macro to the micro, and it perfectly shows how these massive global decisions eventually trickle down into our everyday lives.
Kicking things off with Section 1, National Security and Justice. Honestly, the sheer velocity of modern diplomacy right now is just staggering. I mean, look at this timeline. Overnight on May 25th, U.S. forces shot down Iranian drones near the Strait of Hormuz. By May 27th, missiles launched from Iran were being actively intercepted, which prompted some severe warnings from President Trump about finishing the job. But then, and here's the wild part, in a massive overnight pivot on May 28th, U.S. and Iranian negotiators actually reached a surprise 60-day tentative ceasefire agreement to officially sit down and discuss Iran's nuclear programs. It is a stunning de-escalation after a highly volatile week.
And right in the middle of all those diplomatic breakthroughs, we're seeing a fascinating pivot in transparency. President Trump officially announced that the Pentagon is currently preparing to declassify and release some highly anticipated UFO and UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, files. The administration claims these newly uncovered records are, quote, very interesting, which really builds on their previous directives to finally open up these extraterrestrial records to the public.
Shifting gears over to the judicial branch, the Supreme Court just handed down a highly scrutinized 5-4 ruling. The justices ruled in favor of Mississippi death row inmate Terry Pitchford, formally finding that there was indeed racial bias present in the selection of the jury that originally convicted him. It's a really narrow decision, but it's a deeply impactful ruling coming out of the highest court in the land.
Moving right along to Section 2, the attention pivot.
So, as we try to process all these massive world-altering events, we kind of have to confront a pretty startling reality about our own collective focus in 2026. If you take a look at these TikTok analytics, they reveal a rather grim mathematical baseline regarding modern viewer retention. 4.2 seconds, no joke. That is the fractured average watch time we are dealing with today. Our attention spans are literally microscopic. So since we figure we only have about 4 seconds of your pristine focus anyway, this serves as our perfect pattern interrupt. We're taking a cue from this data to completely interrupt the whole macro-national narrative and pivot directly to the immediate physical realities of our local communities. Let's bring it home.
Which brings us to Section 3, State and Regional Funding. Okay, the crucial takeaway here is just the sheer financial scale of what's coming our way. The Colorado Department of Transportation just approved its updated 10-year statewide plan. And within that plan, they have specifically earmarked over $300 million for the Northwest region. This massive injection of capital is specifically designed to physically upgrade the I-70 mountain corridor and the critical surrounding arterial roads. Bottom line, the valley is going to see some serious construction and upgrades very soon.
Meanwhile, down at the state capitol, Governor Jared Polis officially signed the School Finance Act into law today. But there's a pretty vital nuance you need to know about here. On a statewide level, sure, the bill is a win because it successfully avoids overall funding cuts to K-12 public schools. However, due to some last-minute legislative tweaks, several school districts right here on the western slope are actually going to be dealing with smaller funding increases than they originally budgeted for.
All right, let's look at Section 4, Environmental Realities and Rules.
We really need to ground this next part in pure survival. This is a stark, honest warning from Jessica Ron. She's a survivor of the devastating East Troublesome Fire, and she recently shared her absolute nightmare of an experience having to evacuate her home with a newborn child. Her core message to the community as we enter this dry season is terrifyingly simple. Fleeing a fast-moving fire will feel like chaos. So to combat that exact chaos, Ron laid out 4 vital steps that every single local resident should literally be taking right this very second. Number 1, pack your evacuation bags today. 2, get those pet supplies totally secured. 3, and this is a big one, manually map out alternate escape routes. Do not just rely on your phone's GPS. And 4, organize your essential emergency files. You have to ensure your household is completely ready to move at a moment's notice.
And honestly, why is this fire threat so elevated? Well, because compounding it is a historically grim hydrological outlook. We are literally sitting at a 0 percentile snowpack baseline. It is a full-blown crisis. In response to this, the Eagle River Water and Sanitation District just pushed their Live Like a Local outdoor conservation campaign, and they approved a wildly strict new enforcement policy. Get this. Under the new rule, just 4 outdoor water violations in a single year will trigger a severe penalty: the actual physical installation of a water flow restricting device directly on your residential property. Yeah, they are absolutely not messing around with water waste this summer.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, Community and Culture. We could all use a psychological release right about now, couldn't we? Well, the town of Avon has officially announced the return of its summer concert series. We're getting live weekly music over at Harry A. Nottingham Park, which is brilliant because it just bolsters all the recreation amenities already there. You know, the paddle boats, the stand-up paddle boards, the playgrounds, volleyball courts, walking paths, all of it. It's exactly the kind of communal gathering space people really need right now to just decompress. We're going to end today's explainer on a really inspiring challenge. This was delivered yesterday at the Vail Mountain School graduation by the class of 2026 valedictorian, who told everyone to, quote, refuse the comfort of complacency. Pretty powerful, right? And hey, speaking of avoiding complacency and building new things, make sure you keep your eyes peeled for the official June launch of the VailyChat token over on Pump Fun. It's going to be super fascinating to watch that whole ecosystem grow. Anyway, I'm going to head down to Avanti's now, but I'll leave you with this thought. In a deeply fragmented world that's changing at lightning speed, how will you step up and adapt? Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.